Hi everyone, let's talk about prenups. What are the 5 misconceptions about prenups? So number 1, we can determine custody and child support in a prenup. That's not going to be enforceable. In California, it would be against public policy for many reasons. One, the child is not born yet. The child is not a party to this. The court has to determine the best interest of a child, even when determining best interest of a child in custody proceedings. The child is not a party to the proceedings. The court is determining the best interest of a child in the situation that is presented now. In prenups, usually the child is not even born. It's planned decades potentially ahead. So that part is not enforceable and is against public policy. Number 2, online prenup. Online prenup has so many ways that violates Code Section 1615. So number 1, prenup needs to be in writing. We have to follow 7-day rule, meaning there has to be 7 days between drafting and presenting to the other side the prenup and negotiating and signing before the wedding. In these days, 7 days, have to be untouched, meaning the prenup cannot be touched with significant changes. Errors and typos, things like that are not significant. I'm talking about significant changes that include spousal support changes, disclosing property that was not disclosed before, disclosures. Prenups have to have disclosures. Online platforms don't check if disclosure is proper. For example, sometimes people type TBD in the attachment for the prenup in the disclosure piece. That's not okay. For example, if there's a business, has to be business evaluation. If there's a home appraisal or estimate of the value of the home, some people think that only properties that are in the United States or in California have to be disclosed, but if they're overseas, outside of America, they don't have to be disclosed. That's, as a matter of law, makes it the prenup not enforceable. Then the prenup has to include language that the other spouse who signed the prenup has been advised to seek an independent counsel, and usually that section requires, ideally, it's not codified, but ideally separate signatures so that it's clear that the spouse who signed the prenup read it. And the prenup also ideally needs to be initialed, not just signed at the end, because pages can be replaced over time, and 20 years later, who knows, maybe the prenup has been lost and pages exchange, and if you have initials on every page, that could show that the other spouse who is now challenging the prenup actually initialed that particular page. So online prenups, they don't screen for these type of things. They might say somewhere along the lines that make sure your disclosures is proper, but most people don't know what it means. I created this book to help you understand the divorce process without getting lost or without getting a heart attack. You can buy it on Amazon in all formats, including audio format. Number 3, when people draft prenups without lawyers, they say, okay, all separate property remains separate property. That's not valid if it doesn't include a lot of other things. For example, what happens if it's commingled? What happens if community pays towards separate? What is going to be the reimbursement? What if separate pays towards community? So it has to have specific language around commingling and reimbursement. Number 4, prenups are only for ultra rich. Well, you will be surprised how quickly things add up, even on a salary where 150,000 in California, pension accumulates. 401k accumulates, and over 10, 20 years, the other spouse could get half. So it could quickly, especially if the money is invested well, could be a lot of money. So, and finally, if the prenup is unfair, the judge will fix it. No, judge is not going to fix it. Judge will set it aside. And when judge sets it aside, then the whole prenup would be unenforceable. Sometimes if there is one section, let's say spousal support section, not enforceable, then if the prenup has severability clause saying if one section is unenforceable, then the whole prenup still stands. But if the whole prenup is unfair, let's say it leaves nothing to the other spouse and the discrepancy is huge and it could be completely unfair, unconscionable, then the court could set it aside. So when negotiating these things, an online platform would not be able to provide feedback whether that withstands the unfair unconscionability test, but an attorney would be able to advise to at least provide something to the other spouse so that the whole prenup stands. I hope that was helpful. I will see you in my next video. Bye.